Is far more than the commemoration of the 120th birth anniversary of a distinguished governor. For the people of Ilocos Norte, for the wider Ilocos region, and for Filipinos everywhere, this is a day of remembrance and renewal. We remember a leader who, in our country's darkness or darkest hour, chose courage over safety, duty over convenience, and love of country over submission. And we renew our commitment to the freedom and human dignity for which he gave everything. Governor Roque Ablan Sr.'s legacy lives on because the choice he made remains relevant. When foreign forces occupied our land, he refused to surrender. He refused to cooperate with oppression. He carried the provincial government into the mountains and, with Lieutenant Feliciano Madamba, organized resistance in northern Luzon. Solsona became a seat of the resistance government and a stronghold with struggle for freedom. Governor Ablan placed his office, his future, and ultimately his life in the service of our people. His final resting place remains unknown, but his place in our history is beyond doubt. As the words associated with his memory remind us, he's a hero wherever he is buried. His grave may be unmarked, but his courage is written across the mountains of Ilocos Norte and in the hearts of the people he refused to abandon. For me, this occasion is profoundly personal. I was born in Solsona, the very town that Governor Ablan chose as a center of resistance. When I was 8 years old, my family moved to Lawag, here to Lawag. For 6 years, we lived in then 19 Evangelist Street, just right from the stone throw away from here, within the vicinity of the place where this shrine stands. As a child, I walked and played around these surroundings and still remember this old house. Not yet fully aware of the history they carried, of the extraordinary life they would one day commemorate. Our stay in Lawag ended painfully. My family was evicted from the land on which our house stood, and we returned to Solsona. Poverty can make a family feel powerless. It can narrow a child's world and quietly persuade him that certain doors are not meant to open for him. But I too learned to refuse. Governor Ablan refused to collaborate with the oppression of a foreign invader. In my own, much humbler struggle, I refused to accept the oppression of poverty as my permanent fate. I fought for liberation from poverty, and education became my pathway to freedom. That pathway passed through a school that bears his name, the Ablan Memorial Academy, now the Governor Roque B. Ablan Sr. Memorial Academy. The education I received there became a critical stepping stone in my journey from Solsona to the Mariano Marcos State University, University of the Philippines, and University of Hawaii, to a life of scholarship and public service, and eventually to the responsibility I now carry as the country's Secretary of Economy, Planning and Development. I do not share this story to celebrate a personal achievement. I share it because it demonstrates what education can make possible. The child of a family displaced from its home can, through opportunity, perseverance, and the help of a community, return to this place entrusted with helping plan the nature's future. My school itself was born from the same spirit. Before the Ablan Memorial Academy opened in 1949, young people from Solsona who wished to pursue secondary education had to travel to Lawag or other towns. The journey was slow, costly, and sometimes dangerous, especially when the river east of Dingras swelled during the rainy season. The people of Solsona decided that this barrier must not determine the future of their children. They had little capital, but they possessed solidarity and resolve. Families offered the ground or the ground floors of their homes as classrooms. Students brought their own desks, chairs, benches, and stools. Civic-minded citizens contributed land, resources, time, and guidance. They named the school after Governor Ablan because he had made Solsona the seat of the resistance or the resistance government and had bestowed honor upon the town and its people. The academy, therefore, became more than a memorial bearing his name. It translated his resistance into opportunity. It turned remembrance into education, and education into liberation. I'm only one among generations whose lives were widened by that community's refusal to accept that children in small, remote towns should have fewer chances in life. This brings Governor Ablan's example directly into our own time. We may no longer confront the same foreign army, but millions of Filipinos still face modern forms of bondage, poverty and hunger, unequal access to education, health care, land, finance, technology, and decent work, vulnerability to disasters and economic shocks, and institutions that do not always serve people with fairness or with the fairness, integrity, and urgency they deserve. We must refuse to collaborate with these conditions. We must refuse to regard poverty as destiny, inequality as normal, corruption as unavoidable, or underdevelopment as the natural condition of our communities. We must refuse the idea that a Filipino's child prospects should be determined by the family into which that child is born, or by the distance of his or her community from the centers of opportunity. This refusal must begin with us, but it cannot end with individual perseverance. Not everyone can escape poverty through effort alone. A just society must remove the barriers that keep people poor. It must equip every Filipino with education, health, security, infrastructure, and opportunities needed to live a productive